played in this town. I agree at times and I disagree at times. Okay? Now, did not wish at that time to be elected to that seat. I wanted it to be elected by the people in this town, not selected by 4 or 5 people. I wanted to be elected. There's a difference in that. I want them to elect me to that seat. I don't want to be selected to it. Let's get that straight. And that's what I turned down, the selection. But I'm not going to turn down that seat if I'm elected by the.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Reverend Kevin Brown. I reside at 162 Broadway. Mr. Aaron, if you'd be so kind, so I don't have to appear to be rude or insensitive to you personally, I have a question for you, but please be as brief as possible with your answer, or refuse to answer the question. That's acceptable. I understand when the Armory, before it became the Beach Club, and Mr. Ballan came down into Long Branch, who showed an interest in developing that piece of property, that special permission was needed from the state of New Jersey, and that there was a special committee that you had to actually appear before and argue on behalf of the city to allow the transfer to go directly from the state to Mr. Ballan. Do you recall that committee that you argued before?
Any state-owned property.
Excuse me, sir, please. Do you recall, and no disrespect, but I'll get shut down if you have some questions that are a month and a half behind you.
Why don't you ask me after the meeting then?
Do you recall going before Senator Lynch at a committee meeting asking for him to approve a transfer of the Armory to Mr. Ballan?
I have no recollection of that.
Okay.
Chairman was
I'd
not.
like to say is, as you see, it's on a different subject. You heard about Mr. Lynch, right? You know Mr. Lynch?
Yes, I have.
Okay, well, I'm glad you didn't know him personally, but they do. Mr. Lynch donated into their campaigns for years. For years. $1,500, $2,000. So did Mr. Wesley. So I'm just saying to you, there's another example of this administration of how they did business over the years. So I could go on and on. You've got the Armory. I don't know if you ever looked into that. If you ever want to sit down with me about the Armory, how that deal came about. And if you're a good human being with some senses and honesty, your head would spin after I get done with that one. Maybe you can ask Mr. Brown about that. He finally got a job from the bank that gave him the mortgage with the Armory. But there's so much that went on with this administration. You know yourself, Adam. The people that donated to this campaign, pay to play, big contracts back to Jimmy's law firm. It's going to cease. I don't think it's ever going to cease unless the federal government comes in here and takes you all away, or you resign. I mean, let's face it, you continue to spend $200 million into the camp, 200,000 to win this election from all the boys that donated into your campaign, and then after the election's over, you gave them all big contracts again. The same group that donated into your campaign. What do you call that?
USA Today yesterday, I believe it was, or the day before, there was a story yesterday. There's approximately 30 states in the country that have already passed or voted on some form of eminent domain law, curbing it. And then there's 11 states that are voting on it this November. It's going into the referendums, and the public is actually voting on that this November. That's 41 states out of the union. The rest, 9 or 10, so I'm not sure if 41 is an accurate number, but it's around 9 or 10. The rest of the states have done nothing. And guess who that includes? That includes New Jersey.
Terrorist Long Branch. Could anybody give me one reason why you're not going with the other 41 states?
We only represent the city. We don't represent the state. We can't tell Governor Forsyth or the Assembly what to do. It has to be.
I beg your pardon?
I said, if you want to know why Governor Forsyth is or isn't doing what he's doing, why the Assembly or Senate are or are not doing what they're doing, you will have to ask them.
So that's your answer. You have to ask the governor? How do you actually feel about it?
I think we're doing the right thing.
You really do. How very sad.
270 Ocean Avenue. Well, I have no idea what the people up in the Metosa area are paying in taxes every year, but I know that my family's taxes just about $27,000 this past year, and I knew from 2003 when the taxes got raised that I was going to lose my home because it was either going to be taken by eminent domain or the city was going to force us out because we couldn't afford to live there. We're not millionaires.
Cecilia Mazza, Cedar Avenue. If the Mendoza properties are so valuable, why are their taxes so low? For a brief moment, I thought Mrs. Hoagland truly didn't want to leave her neighborhood, where she raises gifted children and shares meals with her neighbors. But then she confirmed my suspicions when she said to Councilman Brown, and I quote from 921 Atlanticville, "Show me the money." Thank you.
I'm getting into a bitch slapping contest with Miss Mazza. But I would like Ms. Mazza to be aware of the fact that had she attended the meetings in the past 4 years, she would know that I have repeatedly asked this city for an accounting or a redevelopment budget on how it is the city will profit from our demise. How is the city going to benefit from the seizure of our properties? Show me the money. I have asked this repeatedly. I met with Ms. Mount-Horn. I still haven't seen it. It's not happening. There is no redevelopment budget. It's all mixed together. It's one big pot, and to me, that's a big old pot of crop.